Hello students, today we are going to start our third poem from your book First Flight, and the name of the poem is A Tiger in the Zoo. So let us begin with the introduction first. The poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by the human beings for their own fun. So this poem contrasts a tiger in the zoo with the tiger in its natural habitat. The poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and back again to the zoo. Read the poem silently once and say which stanzas speak about the tiger in the zoo and which ones speak about the tiger in the jungle. So let us begin our poem. He stalks in his vivid strips, the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. In this stanza, stalks it means follows, vivid it means bright colored, pads it means pose of tiger, rage it means anger. So here the poet says that the tiger that is confined or jailed in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. Now, next stanza. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. In these lines, lurking it means to be hidden as to wait for your prey. So the poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in a jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger in the cage cannot do so. Now, next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. Baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. In this line, snarling it means warning sounds made by animals, baring it means uncovered, and fangs it means sharp tooth of animals. So the poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp tooth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. Now, next stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. In this line, concrete it means building made of bricks, cement, sand and water. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined or jailed in a strong cell which is made of strong building material. He further says that as the tiger is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also behind the bars. His strength is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage, he just walks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. Now, the last stanza. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. In these lines, patrolling it means to guard or to vigil. So the poet says that in the night, the tiger hears the sound of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So in the night, the tiger hears the sound of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. So, students, in this poem, we can see that the poem begins with the description of a tiger that is very beautiful and is walking in his little cage. He has beautiful strips on his skin and has velvet-like soft paws. But the tiger is not happy and is quite angry about being confined or being jailed in the cage. The poet says that if the tiger was not confined to the zoo cage, he would have been hiding himself behind the long grass near some water body in order to catch its prey, that is the deer. Also, he would have terrorized the residents of the villages around the forest area. But the reality is totally opposite to this. He was confined in the cage, which was made up of strong building material, and he was helpless there. He could not show his power to the visitors, therefore never tried to terrorize them. The tiger is described as being powerless and agonized by the poet. He says that during night also he is alone, hearing the voice of the patrolling vehicles of police and looking at the stars. The cage life has totally changed the tiger's personality. The poet is trying to say that the animal which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom is confined, is captive and sad due to the human beings who want to derive pleasure by looking at him in the zoo cage. Now, let's talk about the literary devices of this poem. In the first stanza, the rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B because cage and rage, these two words are rhymed with each other. The tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he in the first stanza, so personification is also there. Tiger's paws are compared with velvet, pads of velvet, that is why metaphor is also there. Use of adjectives opposite in meaning, quiet and rage. So oxymoron is also used over there. Now in the second stanza, rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. Grass and pass. These two words are rhymed with each other. Use of sound P at the start of two words, plump, pass. That is why alliteration is also there. Now in the third stanza, the rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. Rhyme scheme is followed, age, village. So these two words rhyme with each other. Using words which denote sound, snarling. That is why onomatopoeia is used over here. Now in the fourth stanza, rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. Rhyme scheme is followed bars, visitors. Bars and visitors, these two words are rhymed with each other. The tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he. Again, personification is used over here. Use of sound B at the start of two words behind bars. That is why alliteration is also there. Now, in the last stanza, the rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. Cars and stars, these two words are rhymed with each other. Use of sound H in the starting of two words, he hears. So, alliteration is used over here. Use of I sound with his brilliance. So, assonance is also there. So, with this, our third poem, A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris is completed over here. Thank you.